So guitar beats are huge in trap music. You know, I like to produce a lot of guitar type beats. I know a lot of you do as well. But one thing I noticed some producers doing is when they're sort of programming in the chords for their guitars, they're doing it the wrong way, and it's sort of like an unnatural way of how it would be played on an actual guitar. So if you're thinking to yourself, why does my guitar melodies and chords don't sound like real guitars being played? Well, it's probably because your notes are too close together. They should be spread out and sort of be programmed to mimic a way an actual guitar would be played and strummed. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. All right, so let's go ahead and just draw in some chords here. I'm going to bring in an instance of Logic's acoustic guitar, I believe I want. Yeah, I want that one. And let's go ahead and draw in some chords. And this is what typical producers will do when they draw in some chords. So I'm just going to draw in a C minor here. Go back down to a B flat major. Bring this back C minor back over here, and then we'll go down to A flat major. So there's our chord progression right there. It doesn't sound too good, doesn't sound natural, because yes, that is the way you would play those chords on a piano or keyboard, but on an actual guitar, the notes would be a lot more spread out. So what I see a lot of producers do, they just take the second note in the chord, what's also called a third, and they pitch it up 1 octave. Let's just pitch this down 1 octave. And that sounds a lot more realistic because the notes are more spread out rather than this. Right? It's too close together. So if you look at an actual guitar, typically it's a 6-string guitar and you're going to be playing all those notes to play out that chords. So even though this way does sound better, you will need a couple more notes to fill out that entire guitar so that it sounds more realistic. I know some guitar chords don't require all the strings, but when you're strumming, you typically play the 6 strings. You know, just generally speaking, I know I'll get comments below. You want to have all those 6 notes if you want to have a realistic MIDI playback or software instrument playback of a guitar instrument for your beats. So we're going to go ahead and take this a step further. This is a little bit more advanced and it does require a little bit more work, but the end result is a lot better. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my basic triad over here. And I'm just going to push this over. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and draw out the notes in a standard tuned guitar. And that includes an E, A, D, G, B, E. So that right there is the standard tuning to a 6-string guitar. If you go on Google, if you forget, just type in standard tuning guitar and you'll get those notes. You get E, A, D, G, B, E, right? And that's our 6-string guitar right there. So now what we got to do, we got to invert these chords to match every string on our guitar. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna pull back our C minor chord over here, and we're gonna start to sort of make it fit this shape over here. So the first note is E. So what you want to do is you always want to take the closest note that is above the note in this standard tuning over here. So E, we can't put our C because that's below. We can't put our D sharp because that's below. But the next available note will be the G. So we're going to go draw in a G over here for that one. Next up, we got A, and the next available one would be C. So we'll leave that just there. D is over here. D sharp works in that case. Then we got a G. The G works in that case. And then we got a B. We'll tune that up to a C. And then an E, we'll go back to the G over here. Right? So there's our C minor on a guitar. And just to show you, it's still a C minor chord over there, even though you're playing all these notes. All right, so now let's go ahead and move our C minor chord over, put that in place, and let's work on our B flat major over here. I'll copy that over. Actually, I'll just bring this over here just so we see all the notes so we don't get confused. All right, so we're going to do this again. So starting from the E, the standard tuned guitar, the next note above it that's closest to it is not the A sharp. It is not the D. but it is the F. So I'm going to put that F right over there. Then we got our A, the closest note above it is a sharp. Then we have D, our D lines up, so that's good. And then we have our G over here. The next available note will be that A sharp. Then we have that B. The next available note above it is a D. And then our E, once again, our F. And there's our B flat major chord of how it's actually played on a guitar. And then let's go ahead and work out this A flat major chord over here. And there is our A flat major on our guitar. So let's go ahead and pull this back and let's see how it sounds now. We can push it down one octave. Sounds better there. Now to take this a step further, you're probably gonna wanna strum the notes to mimic an actual strumming. So I'm gonna select all the notes over here. I'm gonna go over to my inspector tab over here, and I'm just gonna set the quantize to 8s for now. We'll go to Q flam and take a look at the notes moving over as I pull this up. It's gonna give us a strumming effect. All right, so here are the 3 ways that you can draw in a guitar pattern. It's the beginner way, the intermediate way, and then the actual pro way. And this is what they sound like in order. And the last thing you're probably wanting to do is just make sure that all the velocities are not hitting at the same level. So I'm going to select all of my notes over here. I'm going to go to functions, MIDI transform. I'm going to go to random velocity. And I'm just going to set between, let's say, 150-ish, select and operate. Now all of my notes are set at a different velocity. And it's going to sound a lot more realistic as well because it's not hitting all at the same level. So right there is how you convert your keyboard piano chords and transpose them or convert them over to how they would be played on an actual guitar. In turn, it makes it sound more realistic. Now, of course, we are working in MIDI, so we don't actually have to follow this exact order of chords. We can go ahead and play around with the notes and see where they sound best. If you're just taking the second note in the chord and transposing it up one octave, that sounds good as well. Just make sure your notes are spread out. But this is just the way if you really want to sort of take your keyboard chords and make them work on a guitar and show them to a guitar player to play them, this is how you would show them. So if you do have a question on this, we can go and chat in the comment section below. Now your trap guitar beats are going to sound a whole lot better, a whole lot fuller. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new, and we'll catch you on the next one. Later. Peace.